The massive colony ship Helios decelerated into orbit around Novus Prime, its fusion drives painting the planet's atmosphere with a brief, brilliant aurora. On the bridge, Captain Arya Chen watched as the swirling blue-green world grew larger on the main view screen. Final approach vector locked, announced navigator Sarah Okafor, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. We are officially in stable orbit, Captain. Arya allowed herself a small smile. After 150 years of travel, they had arrived. Excellent work, navigator. Begin pre-landing checks and wake the first wave of colonists. As the bridge crew bustled with activity, Dr. Elias Reeves, the mission's lead xenoarchaeologist, approached Arya. "Captain, you might want to see this," he said, his voice tight with barely contained excitement. Arya followed him to a secondary console where a high-resolution scan of the planet's surface was displayed. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" Elias pointed to several geometrically perfect structures scattered across one of the continents. "These, Captain, they're artificial." Arya's breath caught in her throat. "You're certain?" "Absolutely. And there's more." Elias tapped a few commands, zooming in on one of the structures. "We're detecting energy signatures. These aren't ruins, Captain. They're active." The implications hit Arya like a physical blow. Novus Prime, their supposed new Earth, was already inhabited. Hours later, Arya stood in the shuttle bay, adjusting the seals on her exosuit. Around her, the first landing team, a mix of scientists and security personnel, made their final preparations. Security Chief Victor Drace approached, his imposing frame made even more so by his tactical gear. "Captain, I must again insist that you remain on the Helios. We don't know what we're walking into down there." Arya shook her head. "Noted, Chief, but this is first contact. They need to see our leadership from the start." Drace frowned but nodded reluctantly. The descent was smoother than expected, Novus Prime's atmosphere remarkably similar to Earth's. As they broke through the cloud cover, Arya gasped. Below them stretched a city, unlike anything she had ever seen. Organic shapes blended seamlessly with advanced technology, buildings that seemed to defy physics reaching towards the sky. They landed in what appeared to be a designated area, the ground beneath them humming with barely perceptible energy. As the team disembarked, figures emerged from the city. Arya stepped forward, her heart pounding. The beings approaching were unmistakably humanoid, yet clearly alien. Their skin shimmered with a faint, opalescent quality, and their eyes were larger and more angled than human norm. One of the beings stepped forward, raising a hand in what was unmistakably a gesture of peace. Then, to Arya's shock, it spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, travelers. We are the Novans. We have been expecting you." The next few days were a whirlwind of diplomacy and discovery. The Novans allowed the humans to establish a small outpost on the outskirts of their city, and cultural exchanges began in earnest. Dr. Reeves worked tirelessly, poring over data and artifacts provided by the Novans. One evening, he burst into the command center of the human outpost, his eyes wild with excitement. "Captain, you won't believe this," he said, spreading out a series of holographic images. "Look at these artifacts. The designs, the materials, they're human in origin. Some of them date back thousands of years." Arya stared at the images, her mind reeling. How is this possible? Before Reeves could answer, an alarm blared. Security Chief Drace's voice came over the comms. "Captain, we've got a situation. The Novan tech, it's interfacing with our systems. It's like they were made for each other." Arya rushed to the tech lab, where she found Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their AI specialist, working feverishly at a console. On a nearby bed lay a young colonist, Sarah's daughter, who had been born with a severe genetic disorder. Now, attached to her arm was a piece of Novan technology, pulsing with soft light. "Dr. Tanaka," report Arya demanded. Yuki looked up, her face a mix of awe and confusion. "Captain, the Novan device, it's rewriting her DNA in real time. It's curing her." A commotion outside drew Arya's attention. She emerged from the lab to find Drace and a group of armed colonists facing off against a delegation of Novans. "Stand down," Chief Arya ordered, but it was too late. Drace and his men surged forward, attempting to seize more of the Novan technology. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The Novans raised their hands, and waves of energy pulsed outward. The human attackers were lifted off their feet and gently, but firmly, pressed against the walls, immobilized. One of the Novans, an elder by the looks of it, stepped forward. "We had hoped it wouldn't come to this," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "But the Forerunner protocol must be protected." Before Arya could ask what he meant, the elder made a gesture. Suddenly, all around the human outpost, energy fields sprang into existence. Arya's comms crackled with panicked reports from the Helios. All communications with the surface had been cut off. As the Novan elder turned to leave, he looked back at Arya. "You have much to learn, children of Earth. But learn you must, for the sake of all our futures." With that cryptic statement, he vanished, leaving Arya and her team isolated on a world that had suddenly become much more alien and dangerous than they could have ever imagined. Certainly. Here's part 2 of the Helios protocol. Captain Arya Chen stared at the shimmering energy barrier separating the human outpost from the rest of Novus Prime. 3 days had passed since the incident, and the situation was growing more tense by the hour. Captain Dr. Elias Reeves called out, rushing towards her with a data pad in hand. "I've made a breakthrough in deciphering the Novan historical records." Arya followed him to the makeshift command center. "Tell me you've got good news, Doctor." Elias's eyes gleamed with excitement. "It's extraordinary. The Novans, they're human, Captain. Or at least they were." The revelation hit Arya like a thunderbolt. "Explain." "According to these records, thousands of years ago, Earth launched a series of secret expeditions. The Forerunner protocol they mentioned, it was a plan to seed human colonies across the galaxy." Arya's mind raced. "But that's impossible. We're the first interstellar mission." "The first in our recorded history," Elias corrected. "This was long before the Great Dark Age. Novus Prime was one of these colonies, but something went wrong. They lost contact with Earth, evolved separately over millennia." Before Arya could process this, Dr. Yuki Tanaka burst in. "Captain, you need to see this." In the tech lab, Yuki pulled up a holographic display of intertwining DNA strands. "This is a Novan genome compared to ours. The similarities are unmistakable, but look here." She zoomed in on a specific section. "These sequences? They're not just similar to ours, they're complementary. It's like their DNA is designed to interface with human genetics." "Which explains why their tech can affect us so directly," Arya mused. "But why keep this from us?" A new voice joined the conversation. "Perhaps they were waiting to see if we were worthy." They turned to see Zara Vega, one of Drace's former security officers who had opposed the attack on the Novans. "Permission to speak freely, Captain." Arya nodded. "We've been going about this all wrong. We came here expecting to colonize, to conquer. But we're not the advanced ones here, we're the long-lost cousins showing up on their doorstep." Arya considered this. "You're right. We need to change our approach. Yuki, how close are you to interfacing with Novan systems?" The AI specialist grinned. "Give me an hour with that barrier tech, and I'll have us linked up." "Do it," Arya ordered. "Elias, keep digging through those records. Zara, I want you to assemble a small team. We're going to do some covert recon." Over the next few days, Arya's team worked tirelessly. Yuki made breakthrough after breakthrough, integrating Novan tech with their own systems. Zara led stealth missions beyond the barrier, gathering intel and mapping out Novan facilities. It was on one of these missions that they made a startling discovery. "Captain, you seeing this?" Zara's voice crackled over the secure comm. Through the bodycam feed, Arya saw rows upon rows of stasis pods, eerily similar to the cryogenic chambers on the Helios. "What am I looking at, Zara?" "Some kind of storage facility." "But these pods, they're active. There are Novans inside." Elias, who had been monitoring the feed, suddenly went pale. "Oh my God, Captain, I think I know what the Forerunner protocol really is." He pulled up an ancient Novan text. "It's not just about seeding colonies, it's about evolutionary insurance. These pods, they're fail-safes. If the Novan evolution had gone wrong, they could revert to an earlier genetic state. Aria's mind reeled at the implications. So when they said they were expecting us, they've been waiting for humanity to catch up. Elias finished. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the outpost. Yuki's voice came over the comms, panic evident in her tone. "Captain, we've got a problem. I've detected a massive energy buildup in the Novan central spire. It's some kind of weapon, and it's aimed at the Helios." Aria's blood ran cold. "Patch me through to the Novan leadership now." The view screen flickered to life, showing the face of the Novan elder they had first encountered. "Captain Chen," he said, his expression grave. "I'm afraid your presence has forced our hand. A faction of our people believes that reintegration with humanity will dilute our advancements. They intend to eliminate the threat." "You can't do this," Aria pleaded. "We've discovered the truth about our shared history. We're family." The elder's eyes widened in surprise. "You've done more than we expected in such a short time. Perhaps there is hope yet." He turned to someone off-screen, speaking rapidly in the Novan language. Aria turned to her team. "Yuki, can we disrupt that weapon?" Yuki's fingers flew over her console. "Not from here, but Captain, the Helios. Its systems have been evolving, interfacing with Novan tech ever since we arrived. If I can uplink to the ship's AI, we might be able to create a counter-pulse." "Do it," Aria ordered. What followed was a tense battle fought in the digital realm. Yuki, interfacing with both human and Novan systems, launched a desperate cyber attack against the weapon. The Helios's AI, augmented by Novan tech, joined the fray. Just as it seemed they would fail, the weapon powered down. The Novan elder reappeared on the view screen. "It is done. Your actions have proven humanity's worth, Captain Chen. The rogue faction has been contained." Aria let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. "Where do we go from here?" The elder smiled, a surprisingly human expression. "Now, we have a choice to make. Your people can leave, taking with you the advancements you've earned, or you can stay, and we can remember together what it means to be human." In the days that followed, debates raged among the colonists. But in the end, the vote was nearly unanimous. Humanity had come too far to turn back now. As the integration process began, Aria stood with her team, watching as humans and Novans worked side by side, unlocking the full potential of their shared technology. "You know," Zara said, a hint of awe in her voice, "when we left Earth, I thought we were heading into the unknown. Turns out we were finding our way back home." Aria nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon where the Novan spires met the alien sky. "And now, together, we'll explore the stars our ancestors once roamed. The real journey is just beginning." As if in response, a pulse of energy rippled through the city. All around them, humans gasped as they felt a new awareness awaken within them, the first stirrings of the abilities that had made the Novans seem godlike. The Helios protocol was complete. Humanity had not just found its long-lost family, it had unlocked the next stage of its evolution. The galaxy would never be the same. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you loved it. Please remember to subscribe if you did like it so you can see more videos like this. And please give us a like and a comment too. I'll see you in the next one.